Gotham Knights tells the tale of a vision of Gotham City, where the big old Batman is no longer around to protect it from the big bad, evil villains. In his place remain three men who have once been Robin at different times in the Batman's career. This trio is comprised of his Wonder Boy sidekick, Batgirl, and the daughter of Commissioner Gordon, Barbara. Without a bat to accompany him, Tim Drake continues his place as the final and current Robin, while Dick Grayson is present under the mantle of that tryhard who calls himself Nightwing. And Jason Todd, he appears as Red Hood. Now that is a getup I like. Yet, Red Hood's existence here seems almost out of necessity, to fill a fourth slot rather, because he brings anything of interest to the table. Jason Todd's Red Hood as a comic book character seems to be more closely aligned with an anti-hero like Deathstroke or the Punisher from the Marvel side of the world. And Jason's violent tendencies here are often reprimanded, and he's actively scolded by the rest of the crew, coming off like a man who can't control his emotions, more than someone who's interested in simply killing off the criminals in order to make Batman obsolete. This point alone leads me to believe the biggest complaint with the story of Gotham Knights, and that is that everyone in this game is supposed to be impressive detectives and fantastic crime fighters, but they all come across as goofy dorks who the city can't stand. I mean, it's one thing to try and weave together a story that starts off with Batman killing himself in order to stop Ra's al Ghul, but to successfully make him look like a less than useful idiot is quite the laugh. Batman setting off a self-destruct sequence to implode the Batcave felt like the weakest explanation, and that's coming from me. Take it from me, Ra's should have actively killed Batman, thus tripping a dead man's switch, which would have then imploded the cave to have the same exact outcome, but without making Batman look so weak and stupid. And what's worse, Batman's sacrifice seems pretty much all for naught, since the Gotham Knights are just standing around cluelessly while in a post-Bat Gotham that's gone rampant with bold villainy. The Knights investigate a crime at a school, only to find that the professor that they're looking for has been killed, and something has done some sort of genetic mutation to achieve it. Well, the story is painfully predictable, and the person who's behind the major conflict is exactly who you'd think it would be. And then they proceed to perform an absolute backhanded assault on anyone who's decided to give this game a chance, in spite of the people being leery because Batman isn't in it. And they pull a stunt so heinous that I actually gave myself a headache, rolling my eyes so hard. Get ready to throw your controller through your flat screen. Reviews don't usually include spoilers, but I don't mind deviating from this tradition, of course, and this one just has to be said out loud, because it's a total laugh. So go ahead and do yourself a little bit of a favor and skip if you don't want me to spoil all your fun. And now, for the best and my favorite part, spoiling! At the end, Batman is resurrected, yes, resurrected, and mind-controlled to fight you. And after you beat the mind control out of Batty Boy, he slinks away and crawls into the Batplane. Even for me, Bats mutters the most cringeworthy line of all dialogue in 2022. Together, you're stronger than the Batman could ever be. Oh, whoopee! And then Batso intentionally crashes the damaged bat plane into the Lazarus pit so that it can't be used to revive anyone else. So, let's recap, shall we? They successfully have him commit suicide twice, while also being both weak and stupid. How wonderfully unbelievable and insulting to the Batty fans. There's some woke agenda pandering here included as well. Robin is now suddenly bisexual. And how deviant the creators felt the need to address this. The boy is 17 years old. And to really drive this point home, the Knights have a pride flag hung in the belfry. While if you're playing Robin, you'll get an email from Batgirl and others discussing whether or not they should wear rainbow-colored capes and whatnot to the Pride Parade. If people need that stuff for representation, go ahead, I guess, but it's notably insincere when it's shoehorned, and it's just for the sake of inclusivity itself. It's doubtful anyone would have even blinked an eye if Robin left off or even made suggestive replies to flirty advances from thugs. After all, these are baddies who served time or even escaped from the prison or Arkham Asylum itself. Why would anyone even care if the game hints of Robin's boyfriend or dating a dude in his emails? It's as if it's all there just so someone could brag that it was included. It is clear that there is a less clumsy way to present this than the unsophisticated pandering that it turned out to be. On a performance level, I applaud the idea of this being one of the few games that really pushed for a next-gen experience. It's opting not to make a PS4 or Xbox One version available, but while it does look nice, I don't have anything that I see graphically that could not have been accomplished from the previous gen, aside from the frame rate, perhaps. And the UI here is trashy. It's a mess. It is constructed in a manner so simplified, you'd swear this game was originally going to be a mobile title, and it was expanded to be full-fledged experience within the 11th hour. That's what it looks like to me. Now let's talk about something I truly enjoy, and that's dealing with, of course, abuse. The combat is adequate, but it's far from the flowing combat system found in the Arkham games. And perhaps this is a reflection of who you are instead of when you took the role of Batty himself. Combat mostly revolves around a few combos and attacks that are dependent on how long you press the melee or the ranged attack button. A few acrobatic attacks that you can perform look cute, but just like in Spider-Man, once you've seen these animations a few times, you're ready to be able to hit a button to hurry it all along already. While some characters have gadgets and tools that help in sticky situations, they're useless unless you're playing this game on the hardest difficulty available. And even then, you're playing as Robin and have your stealth points upgraded. The game is still quite the breeze. In fact, I'd go as far as to say that Robin and Batgirl are probably the only two characters who feel fully fleshed out. Nightwing feels like Robin, but without the decent stealth perks, which means he's a decent brawler. But unless you're good at spamming dodge, he gets curb stomped pretty quickly. Batgirl is the superior of the characters if you don't want to play the whole game in stealth, because not only is she undetectable by electronic devices, this means cameras and proximity mines are useless, but she can also hack things to cause distractions, and she's got a boatload of health due to tank perks. Unfortunately, my personal favorite, Red Hood, is a mess who relies on his distance to do much of anything. But his only upside is being able to provide crowd control, which means he's pretty much only a good pick for online multiplaying sessions. If you can find one, that is. Anyone up for a battle? It's a shame that I have so many complaints, because I don't even think that this is a bad game. It's not, but it's not a good game either. It's the most adequate sandbox-style superhero game I've ever played, and it doesn't do anything truly notable. But everything it does is simply fine, or mediocre at best. Traveling the city, it feels janky and complete trash using the grappling hooks compared to the free swinging in Marvel's Spider-Man. But you can find a decent flow once you've been able to truly figure it out. Yes, in a game where you're supposed to have fun, just go ahead and practice. Goody! You can summon the Bat Cycle to simply drive to your destination. And driving is so completely fine, and not exactly good or even great, that there's no sense of speed at all, no danger, no excitement. You just go as fast as it'll let you, and the on-screen indicator, it layers some motion blurring marks that show up in your view when you're going fast. You can't even wreck the bike and get thrown off of it or reduced to the meat strips on the road that one would expect when going through a collision. You can't even wreck the bike itself and get thrown off of it whatsoever. Trust me, I've tried. You can slam into a wall at full speed and the bike just stops. How angelic. You can just put it in reverse, get right back on track, and just drive off as if nothing ever occurred. This is, without a doubt, the most middle-tier playable video game experience that I've had all year, if not maybe ever. It never does anything better than it does the moment that it allows you to experience it for the first time. Not combat, not storytelling, not driving, not anything. Clearly, this is a game that exists because someone decided that it should exist and that you could spend some money and spend your time and do so all in this game if you want, or you can go find anything else to do with your time that might actually elicit some sort of an emotional response. Gotham Knights at its core is a game that feels like it was built on the baseline for what should have been a great game. But then again, it was just released without any time spent on expanding on the basics, and that's the fundamentally worst part about the game itself. Ooh, when money burns, I love it. And the potential is definitely just wasted in a way that consistently seems to stop itself from delivering on literally anything, getting in its own way, and ultimately poisoning its own well by refusing to be more than what it is. Something that could have been beautiful, something that could have been special, but instead was a missed opportunity, and what a shame it is.